world where identity is power, her tattered card was a joke, until the scanner glowed with an emblem that silenced the room. A forgotten legend had returned, and the air thickened with fear and awe. What secrets did her ID hold, and why did it shake the foundations of their carefully controlled society? Enjoyed the story? Subscribe to Silent Stories for more gripping tales delivered weekly, where every narrative unveils a hidden truth. Visit Silent Stories to join. The checkpoint was a gray, utilitarian box of a building, squatting at the edge of New Cascadia's bustling capital. Its walls were streaked with the grime of 100 years of acid rain, and the air inside buzzed with the hum of overworked scanners and the sharp voices of enforcers. Mira stood in line, her boots scuffing the cracked linoleum, her fingers clutching a worn ID card. The card was a relic, its edges frayed, the holographic strip barely glinting under the flickering lights. She kept her head down, her hood pulled low, but her heart thumped loud enough she swore the enforcers could hear it. The line shuffled forward. Mira's stomach twisted as she neared the scanner station. The enforcers, clad in their slate-gray uniforms with neural batons at their hips, eyed the crowd with bored contempt. They were the gatekeepers of the city, the ones who decided who belonged and who was cast out to the Fringe, a wasteland of scavengers and exiles beyond the capital's shimmering walls. Mira had no intention of ending up there, but her ID was a gamble. It was old, too old, from a time before the system standardized everything. She'd avoided checkpoints for years, slipping through alleys and bartering for passage. But today, there was no other way into the city. Next, barked the enforcer at the scanner, a stocky man with a scar slicing through his left eyebrow. His partner, a lanky woman with a buzz cut, leaned against the counter, smirking at the nervous faces in line. Mira stepped forward, her breath shallow. She slid her ID into the scanner's slot and the machine whirred, its red light pulsing like a heartbeat. The scarred enforcer glanced at the screen, then let out a sharp laugh. "What is this, Grandma's keepsake?" he said, nudging his partner. The woman peered over, her smirk widening. "Looks like it's from the Stone Age. Bet it's fake. Nobody uses these anymore." Mira's jaw tightened, but she kept her eyes on the floor. Let them laugh. Let them think she was just another drifter with a forged ID. She just needed to get through to reach the contact waiting in the city's underbelly. The enforcer's mockery was nothing new. Her whole life, people had laughed at her patched clothes, her quiet voice, her stubborn refusal to bow to the system's demands. But then the scanner beeped, a low, resonant tone that cut through their laughter like a blade. The screen flickered and a golden emblem blazed into view, a circle of interwoven thorns surrounding a single, glowing eye. The enforcers froze. The woman's smirk vanished, her hand hovering over her baton. The man's eyes widened, his scarred brow twitching. "What the hell?" he muttered, tapping the screen as if it were malfunctioning. The emblem pulsed, steady and unyielding, filling the room with a faint hum that made Mira's skin prickle. "Scan it again," the woman snapped, her voice tight. The man yanked the ID out and shoved it back in. The scanner hummed and the emblem reappeared, brighter this time, its light casting shadows on the walls. The other enforcers in the room turned, their conversations dying. A civilian in line behind Mira gasped, then quickly stepped back as if proximity to her might burn. Mira's heart raced. She'd known the ID was special, her mother had pressed it into her hands before disappearing, whispering that it was her legacy, her protection. But Mira had never seen it do this. She'd used it sparingly, always at low-tech outposts where scanners barely worked. This was different. This was the capital's main gate, with tech that could peel back the layers of any identity, real or fake. And now it was screaming something about her that she didn't understand. "Name," the scarred enforcer demanded, his voice no longer mocking but sharp with unease. "Mira Cade," she said, her voice steady despite the tremor in her hands. The woman typed rapidly, her eyes darting between Mira and the screen. "No record. That's impossible. The system has everyone." She leaned closer, squinting at the emblem. This is a Warden's mark. But the Wardens are gone. Dissolved decades ago." Mira's breath caught. The Wardens. She'd heard whispers of them. Legends of a secret order that once stood against the system, protectors of the old world's knowledge, vanished after the Great Purge. Her mother had never spoken of them. But the way she'd guarded that ID, the way she taught Mira to hide, to survive, it suddenly made sense. And it terrified her. "Detain her," the woman said, her hand closing around her baton. But before she could move, the scanner let out a piercing wail, and the emblem expanded, projecting a holographic map above the counter. It showed New Cascadia's sprawling districts, but overlaid with strange, glowing lines, routes, and nodes that didn't match any official maps. A voice, mechanical yet ancient, echoed from the scanner, access granted. Warden protocol activated. The room went silent. The enforcers stepped back, their batons forgotten. The civilians in line stared, some whispering, others edging toward the door. Mira's mind raced. She didn't know what a Warden protocol was, but she knew an opportunity when she saw one. She grabbed her ID from the scanner and bolted for the exit, her boots pounding the linoleum. "Stop her," the scarred enforcer shouted, but the scanner's wail grew louder and the lights flickered. The door slid open before Mira reached it, as if the building itself were obeying the emblem. She sprinted into the city, the sounds of chaos fading behind her. New Cascadia was a labyrinth of glass towers and neon veins, its streets pulsing with drones and hovercars. Mira ducked into an alley, her breath ragged, her mind spinning. The ID was warm in her pocket, almost alive. She pulled it out, staring at the faint glow still lingering in its holographic strip. What was it? And why had her mother never told her? She needed answers, and she knew where to start. Her contact, an old smuggler named Dax, ran a dive bar in the Underbelly, a place where the system's eyes were blind. Mira moved quickly, sticking to shadows, avoiding the drones that scanned every face. The city was a machine, its citizens cogs, everyone tracked, cataloged, controlled. The system knew your job, your habits, your thoughts, all tied to the ID chip implanted at birth. Mira had no chip. She'd been born outside the system in the Fringe, raised by a mother who taught her to distrust the city's promises of safety. The bar was a hole in the wall, its sign flickering with the words "Last Call." Inside, it smelled of stale beer and burnt circuits. Dax was behind the counter, a wiry man with a cybernetic eye that clicked as it focused on her. "You're late," he said, pouring a glass of something amber. "And you look like you just kicked a hornet's nest." "They scanned my ID," Mira said, sliding onto a stool. "It did something. Showed an emblem. A Warden's mark." Dax's eye word, narrowing. "You're shitting me. The Wardens are a myth. Ghost stories for rebels who think they can fight the system." He leaned closer, his voice dropping. "What did it look like? Thorns. An eye, glowing gold. And it spoke something about a protocol." Dax set the glass down hard, liquid sloshing. "You need to get rid of that thing. Now, if the system's sniffing around, you're already dead." "I can't," Mira said. "It's all I have left of her." Dax sighed, rubbing his scarred knuckles. "Your mother was trouble, kid. Always knew too much. If that ID's tied to the Wardens, it's not just trouble, it's a death sentence. Or worse." "Worse?" Mira asked, her voice barely a whisper. Dax glanced around, then pulled a small device from under the counter, a signal jammer, crude but effective. "The system doesn't just exile people anymore. They rewrite them. Wipe your mind, reprogram you into a loyal drone. If that ID's got Warden tech, they'll tear you apart to get it." Mira's stomach churned. She'd heard rumors of the rewritten, empty-eyed workers who moved like puppets, their souls erased. "I need to know what it is," she said. "There's someone who can help. A historian. She's in the archives." Dax snorted. "The archives? That's a fortress. You'd need a miracle to get in." Mira touched the ID in her pocket. "I might have one." The archives were a towering structure of black glass, guarded by drones and enforcers with Neuralink rifles. Mira crouched in an alley across the street, watching the patrols. The ID had gotten her through the checkpoint, but the archives were another beast. She needed to reach Dr. Voss, a historian who'd once published a paper on the Wardens before the system censored it. If anyone knew what the emblem meant, it was her. Mira waited until the patrol shifted, then slipped across the street, her ID in hand. The archive's entrance had a single scanner, unguarded but linked to the system's core. She hesitated, then slid the ID in. The scanner hummed, and the emblem appeared again, brighter, fiercer. The door hissed open, and Mira stepped inside. The archives were a maze of shelves and holographic displays filled with the system's sanitized version of history. Mira moved quickly, following the map her contact had given her. She found Dr. Voss in a back room surrounded by ancient books and flickering screens. The woman was older than Mira expected, her hair white but her eyes sharp. You're the one who stirred up the checkpoint, Voss said, not looking up from her tablet. I saw the alert. Warden's mark. Bold move, coming here. You know what it is? Mira asked, holding out the ID. Voss took it, her fingers trembling slightly. She scanned it with a handheld device, and the emblem projected above the table, its light illuminating her face. This isn't just an ID, she said. It's a key. The Wardens built a network hidden from the system to preserve what was lost in the purge. Knowledge, tech, history, they stored it in secret vaults. This key unlocks one of them. Where? Mira asked. Voss's eyes darkened. The Fringe. Deep in the wastelands. But you don't just walk in. The system's been hunting Warden tech for decades. If they catch you, they'll rip your mind apart to find that vault. Mira's throat tightened. Why me? Why did my mother give me this? Voss studied her, then handed the ID back. Because you're a Warden, Mira. Or at least, your bloodline is. The emblem only activates for those it recognizes. The journey to the Fringe was brutal. Mira hitched rides on smuggler caravans, dodging drones and bounty hunters. The ID grew warmer the deeper she went, as if guiding her. She crossed deserts of shattered glass, ruins of the old world, until she reached a canyon where the air hummed with static. At its heart was a hidden door carved into the rock with a slot for her ID. She inserted it, and the emblem blazed, the door grinding open. Inside was a vault filled with glowing consoles, shelves of ancient texts, and weapons that pulsed with energy. A holographic figure appeared. A woman who looked eerily like Mira's mother. Welcome, Warden, it said. The knowledge of the old world is yours to protect. Or to wield. Mira stood frozen, the weight of her legacy crashing down. The system would come for her. They'd never stop. But as she touched the console, feeling its power, she knew she couldn't run anymore. The Wardens weren't just a myth, they were her blood, her purpose. And she'd fight to keep their secrets alive. Mira spent hours in the vault, her fingers tracing the consoles as the holographic figure, calling itself the Keeper, guided her through the Warden's legacy. The vault was a repository of forbidden knowledge, blueprints for tech that could disrupt the system's control, histories of a world where freedom wasn't a crime, and records of the Warden's final stand. The Keeper explained that the Wardens had been scientists, philosophers, and warriors who believed humanity's survival depended on preserving its past. When the system rose, consolidating power through surveillance and control, the Wardens hid their knowledge in vaults like this one, accessible only by keys like Mira's ID. Your mother was one of us, the Keeper said, its voice soft but resonant. She encoded your bloodline into the key, ensuring only you could access this vault. The system hunted her, but she hid you to keep the legacy alive. Mira's chest ached. Her mother's disappearance had always been a wound. Nights spent wondering if she'd abandoned her, days spent dodging enforcers to survive. Now she knew the truth, her mother had died protecting her, protecting this. What do I do now? Mira asked. The choice is yours, the Keeper said. Protect the knowledge or use it to fight. The system grows stronger, but its foundations are fragile. The Wardens believed in a balance, knowledge to rebuild, power to resist. Mira's hand hovered over a console displaying a schematic for a device labeled Pulse Disruptor. It could disable the system's drones and surveillance networks, but only for a short time. The vault held dozens of such tools, each a potential spark for rebellion. But rebellion meant war, and war meant blood. Mira had seen enough of the Fringe to know the cost of fighting, broken bodies, shattered lives. Yet running wasn't an option either. The system would find her, and the vault eventually. She left the vault at dawn, the ID now pulsing faintly in her pocket, as if it had synced with her heartbeat. The Keeper had given her coordinates for other vaults, scattered across the Fringe, each holding pieces of the Warden's legacy. If she could find them, she might uncover enough to challenge the system. But first, she needed allies. Mira returned to New Cascadia, slipping back into the city through a smuggler's tunnel Dax had shown her years ago. The Underbelly was alive with whispers, rumors of her ID, of the Warden's mark. The system had issued a bounty on her, broadcasting her face across every screen in the city. She couldn't go back to Dax's bar, enforcers would be watching. Instead, she sought out the only other person she trusted, Kale, a hacker who'd grown up with her in the Fringe. Kale's hideout was a cluttered basement beneath a derelict factory filled with scavenged tech and flickering monitors. He was lanky, with a shock of blue hair and fingers that danced over keyboards like a pianist. Heard you pissed off the system, he said, grinning as he opened the door. Nice work, Mira. What's the plan? She showed him the ID, its glow dim but steady. It's a key. To a vault. There's tech in there, stuff that could change everything. But I need help. The system's coming for me. Kale's grin faded as he studied the ID. He plugged it into a custom scanner, his screens lighting up with code. This is old tech, Mira. Pre-system. It's got encryption I've never seen. And this emblem, he tapped a key and the thorn eye symbol appeared, spinning in holographic form. It's broadcasting a signal. Low frequency, off the system's grid. It's like it's talking to something. Other vaults, Mira said, her voice firm. There are more out there. I need to find them. Kale whistled. You're talking rebellion. You sure about this? Once you start, there's no going back. Mira thought of her mother, of the rewritten, of the system's iron grip on every life in New Cascadia. I'm sure. Kale's network of hackers and smugglers became Mira's lifeline. They moved her between safe houses, taught her to evade drones, and helped her decode the ID signals. Each vault she found revealed more of the Warden's plan. A network designed to outlast the system, to preserve humanity's potential. One vault held medical tech that could heal without the system's costly implants. Another had communication devices that bypassed the system's surveillance. Each discovery made Mira's resolve stronger, but also painted a bigger target on her back. The system wasn't idle. Enforcers raided the Underbelly, tearing through bars and hideouts. Kale's network lost members, some exiled, others rewritten. Mira's dreams were haunted by their faces, their empty eyes. She began to understand the weight her mother had carried, the cost of being a warden. But she also felt the ID's warmth, its pulse a reminder of her purpose. 6 months into her search, Mira found the largest vault yet, hidden beneath a ruined city in the Fringe's heart. It was a fortress, its walls lined with weapons and data cores. The keeper appeared again, its hologram clearer, its voice urgent. This is the Nexus, it said, the Warden's final stronghold. From here, you can activate the network, link the vaults, and broadcast the truth to every screen in New Cascadia. The truth? Mira asked, her hand on a console that hummed with power. That the system lies, the keeper said. It claims to protect, but it enslaves. The Wardens preserved evidence, records of the purge of the lives destroyed to build this world. Broadcast it and the people will see. Mira hesitated. A broadcast would expose her, the vaults, everything. But it could also spark a revolution. She thought of Dax, of Kale, of the countless others crushed by the system. She thought of her mother's sacrifice. Do it, she said. The Nexus hummed, its consoles blazing. Screens across New Cascadia flickered, hijacked by the Warden's signal. Mira's face appeared, her voice steady as she spoke of the vaults, the purge, the truth. Riots erupted in the streets, drones fell from the sky, and enforcers scrambled to contain the chaos. Mira knew the system would strike back, but she was ready. She was a Warden, and this was her fight. Subscribe to Silent Stories for more tales of hidden truths and forgotten legacies. Visit Silent Stories to join the journey.